You already know what a mandrill looks like. You have seen one, maybe at a zoo behind glass, maybe in a film, where one of them held up a lion cub. You remember the colors. The red stripe down the nose, the blue ridges either side, that impossible face that looks painted on. And because you have seen it, you think you have measured it. You have not. The animal you are picturing is the largest monkey on Earth, not one of the largest. The largest. And it does not live alone, or in a family, or in a troop the way you are imagining right now. It moves through the forests of Gabon in a group of 800. 800 of them, together, at once. That is not a guess, and it is not a legend. It was counted, on video, over 3 years. Researchers stood at the edge of the forest and waited for the horde to cross open ground. Then they counted every animal that passed. The number they got was the largest stable group ever recorded for any wild primate on the planet. And every adult male in it is carrying a set of canine teeth longer than your fingers. Start with size, because the size is where the picture in your head is wrong. A male mandrill stands about 70 to 90 centimeters at the shoulder. Low, but that is not the measurement that matters. The measurement that matters is mass and the difference between the sexes. A male is roughly twice the weight of a female. That gap is one of the most extreme in the whole primate world. Whatever pressure shaped this animal, it acted almost entirely on the males, and it acted hard. Then there are the teeth. A male mandrill's canines average around 45 millimeters. The largest measured have gone past 60. For an animal this size, those are the longest canines of any primate alive. Now, I want to be careful here because there is a claim about mandrills that gets repeated constantly, and it is wrong. You will read in a lot of places that a mandrill's canines are longer than a lion's. They are not. A lion's canines run 70 to 100 millimeters. A mandrill's average 45. The real fact is stranger than the false one. It is not that a mandrill outguns a lion. It is that a monkey has evolved a weapon without equal among primates, an animal that spends most of its day eating fruit. And here is the part that tells you what those teeth are actually for. Researchers tracked canine size against breeding success in male mandrills. What they found is that males sire offspring almost exclusively, while their canines are above about 30 millimeters. Once the teeth wear down or break below that threshold, the male effectively stops fathering young. Think about what that means. The teeth are not a defense against leopards. They are not for cracking fruit. They are the qualification. A male mandrill without them is not a weaker mandrill. He is out of the competition entirely. Which tells you exactly who those teeth are pointed at. Each other. Now the number. Between 1996 and 1999, researchers working in the Lopé Reserve in Gabon set out to do something that sounds simple and is not. Count mandrills. You cannot count them in the forest. The canopy is too thick, the animals move too fast, and a group that size does not hold still. So the team used the geography instead. Parts of the reserve are gallery forest cut through by open savanna. Sooner or later, a horde has to cross the open ground. When it did, they filmed it, and they counted every animal that passed. The average horde was 620 individuals. The largest they documented was 845. In their own words, that is probably the largest stable group size found in any wild, unprovisioned primate population. Unprovisioned matters. Nobody was feeding them. This was not a crowd gathering at a food source and dispersing. This was the group. This is how they live. Sit with the scale of that for a second. 845 animals moving as one unit through dense rainforest, every one of them tracking its position in a hierarchy, every adult male armed, and the whole thing holding together day after day for years. Chimpanzees live in communities of 15 to 80. Gorillas live in family groups you can count on your fingers. The mandrill is doing something no other primate on Earth does, at a scale nothing else comes close to. And then the same study found something that turns the whole picture inside out. The males are not there. Not permanently. The researchers found that mature breeding-age males were not resident members of the horde at all. They came in when the females began cycling. They left again once the females stopped. The number of adult males present at any given moment was best explained by one thing: how many females were currently receptive. So the 800 animals moving through the forest are, for most of the year, females and young. The permanent society is theirs. It is stable, it is enormous, and it holds together without the giant armed males in it at all. The males are visitors. They arrive, they compete, they breed, and they go. And while they are there, the horde fills up with animals whose entire physical design is built around fighting each other. Think about what that does to a place. For part of the year, it is the largest stable primate society on Earth, running quietly. For the rest of it, that same society is hosting a tournament. And a group that size creates a problem, a very specific one. In a group of 800, you cannot possibly fight everyone. There is not enough time. Imagine every dispute between 800 armed animals settled with those canines. The horde would tear itself apart inside a month. So it is not settled that way. It is settled by looking. This is where that face stops being decoration and becomes the most interesting thing about the animal. The color on a male mandrill's face is not fixed. It is not like a bird's plumage or a tiger's stripes, something you are born with and carry to the grave. It moves, and what it moves with is rank. Researchers measured the redness of male mandrills' faces against their hormone levels and their position in the hierarchy. High-ranking males had higher androgen levels and redder faces. And when a male's status changed, the color changed with it. Males who rose in rank saw their testosterone rise, and their faces got redder. And here is the detail that shows how precise this system is. It is only the red. A male mandrill has blue on his face too, those hard ridges either side of the nose. You would assume the blue is doing the same job. It is not. When researchers looked for a link between the blue and the animal's hormone cycle, they did not find one. The blue sits there. It does not track rank the way the red does. So the face is not simply a colorful face. It is two different things at once. One part of it is fixed architecture. The other part is a live readout that moves with the animal's standing week by week. Read that again, because it is genuinely strange. The animal's face is a live display of its current standing. Not its history, not its potential, its standing now. So a mandrill approaching another mandrill can read it at distance before anything happens. The red is doing the work the teeth would otherwise have to do. The color is an honest signal. It says how willing that male is to fight and how likely he is to win. That is what keeps 800 armed animals from destroying each other. Most confrontations are resolved before contact, by color. But there is a detail in that research that should stop you feeling too comfortable about it. The same work found that androgen levels track dominance rank continuously. It did not matter whether the hierarchy was stable. It did not matter whether it was breeding season. The researchers described it as males living in a permanently aggressive context, where dominance has to be actively maintained. Permanently, not seasonally, not during the rut the way it works for deer or elk. There is no off switch. A male mandrill is holding his position every single day of his life, and his face is broadcasting how well it is going. So what does an animal like this eat? Fruit, mostly. One dietary study broke it down properly, and the numbers are worth hearing in full. Fruit, 51%. Seeds, 26%. Leaves, 8. Pith, 7. Flowers, under 3. Add all that up. Around 95% of everything a mandrill eats is a plant that cannot run away. Animal foods came to about 4%. 4%. That is your terrifying monster, a fruit eater with a rounding error of meat in its diet. Except that 4% is not all insects. There is a documented record from Cameroon of mandrills hunting and killing a juvenile bay duiker, a small forest antelope, not scavenging it, hunting it. It is rare. It is not what they are built around, but it happened and it was recorded. And it tells you something. The line between what a mandrill normally does and what it is capable of is thinner than the diet chart suggests. And then there is the leopard. The leopard is the mandrill's main natural predator, and it takes them, mostly the young, the isolated, the ones caught away from the group. But the risk drops as a mandrill matures, and for a full-grown male, the arithmetic changes. A large male mandrill is more than a match for most leopards. Sit with that sentence. The animal you had filed as colorful monkey from the film is at full size a problem for a leopard. So here is where I have to be straight with you, because this channel does not invent threats. Mandrills are not hunting you. There is no statistic here like the one for deer on roads. Attacks on people are rare. The documented ones are overwhelmingly captive animals, males kept badly by people who underestimated what they were holding. In the forests of Gabon, a mandrill wants nothing from you. If it hears you coming, you will never see it. Most people who have stood within 100 meters of 800 mandrills walked away without knowing it. So why should you be terrified of them? Not because they are coming for you, because of what they are, standing still. Think about what this animal has actually built. A society of 800, holding together year-round, in terrain where you cannot see 30 meters. No other primate manages it, not chimpanzees, not gorillas, not us for most of our history. It runs on females and young for much of the year. Then the males arrive. Each one carries the longest canines in the primate world. Each one wears his exact rank on his face, in a color that moves with his hormones. And it does not collapse. It does not collapse because almost every confrontation is settled before it starts, by animals reading each other's faces across a clearing. That is not a monkey. That is a standing army that has never needed to be commanded. And it has been running in the same forests for longer than our species has existed. You will probably never meet one. But now you will see that face differently. The red stripe, the blue ridges. The thing you thought was just color. You will know what it is actually telling you. It is telling every other male in the horde exactly how much trouble he is in today. If you want more of these, the animals that are stranger than the stories about them, subscribe. There is a new one every few days. And if you think you know what the next animal on this channel is really like, you probably don't. That is rather the point.